Hey, everybody, it's Tuesday. Welcome to the Giant Bombcast, episode 884, April 1st, 2025. Don't worry, no joking ever happens on this podcast. There are no fools here, no fools welcome at all. I'm your host, Jan Ochoa. Joining me.
So I'm sorry. I was going to say, should I just leave?
Joining me, co-captain of the ship. He's never fooled you. He's never come up with anything that someone has taken out of context and spun out on the internet. Everything has been completely fine. Jeff Crab.
I've never once met a fool, especially not looking in the mirror.
There we go. Speaking about the man in the mirror, he's staring at him intently, combing and drying his hair. We've got the best hair in the business. That's right. I'll relinquish the title. I'll do it. I don't care. It's true. Sorry, Mike Minotti, it's not you.
I thought you were going to say
it took me way too long to figure out you weren't talking about Mike.
What? Turbo Sean McDowell.
Hi. I also definitely thought that Grubb was doing a Nixon impression there, like halfway through that. Yeah, there it is.
I'm not a crook.
Says it ready to go.
Yep.
We've mentioned Richard Nixon. No, I'm thinking of Ronald Reagan. Different.
No. We mentioned Richard Nixon a lot during Overblood because in Overblood, every time the character gets near any object, he just starts doing the "I'm not a crook." It's a good look.
You know what? I take that back. He's got the best body hair in the business because he's the podcast werewolf. Ow! And also he's the bad boy of games media, Mike Minotti.
You only lick me from my body, and that's okay.
Woo, woo, woo.
I think I broke Jan.
Well, you called him out accurately.
Yeah, that's right. You didn't have to like air like the contents of my DMs to you, dog. What the heck?
Hey.
April Fools. Has anyone fallen for any jokes, any goofs or gaffes on the internet today?
Probably.
Oh, I don't go on the internet anymore.
I was watching TikTok. I fell for a lot of those.
I mean, I got an email that my rent was due today, and I just assumed it was a joke, so I'm just not going to do it.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Have to
That's how
pay
it
it
works.
again now.
Yeah. How's everyone doing? How's everyone going? And gaffing, goofing?
Bit tired. It's been a little nonstop lately. I think after tomorrow, like maybe hopefully Thursday can calm down a bit and breathe a little bit. But I think like we're all excited for tomorrow. Big switch to direct. It's finally happening. Let's get those deets. Let's find out when we can desperately try to pre-order. Let's hopefully see a Mario or see a Mario Kart. Let's see some other Nintendo goodies. I'm excited.
I have a question for all of y'all, and there's
Please.
probably an easy answer. Why do they do this so dang early on my time?
Yeah.
So everyone in the world could theoretically be awake for
Right.
it.
It's probably an okay time for Japan, right?
It's late in Japan, early for West Coast. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no good time to do it for everybody, and this is kind of one of the times they settle on for like the best. And you know what? They're like, it's switch to. If West Coast really cares, just wake up.
I think they hate Jan Ochoa.
I believe it. I believe it.
Doug Bowser, when we took a picture with him, he did kind of try to get as far away from you as possible. So
Yeah,
Wow.
I felt that tension. I don't
Yeah.
want to say it was like a sexual tension. It was just like a tension.
it was just regular tension. Yeah.
I did walk by where they're planning or they're opening the Nintendo store in San Francisco, and there was a picture by the window of my face saying, "Do not let this man in."
Wow.
You're like, I wonder who that's for. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh gosh, dang, again, another place here.
Is that where they're doing they're having those Nintendo fan events, the Switch 2 like hands-on events that they announced and invited people to a while ago? Is that where they're doing that one in SF, or is there not one in SF?
I don't believe there's one in San Francisco because
Okay.
Nikki and I tried getting into or
Weird.
applying for the one in Los Angeles.
Well,
Yeah,
okay, that's
but
right. It's in Los Angeles.
I bet like that New York one isn't at the. Is it at the store? Because that'd be surprising. It's not a big place, and
No,
also it's
that's
already
pretty
a
small,
store.
Yeah, I think
So.
that someone showed like it was like another event hall.
There's a
somewhere
lot
in
of
New York.
event spaces in New York you can just rent out.
Yep, totally. And there were pictures of that getting set up. So yeah, that's out there. And that was not the Nintendo store. So yeah.
Michael O'Leary. It's in L.A., New York, and Dallas. Fun.
The loss.
Alas. Gang, I got something not gaming related. It's a personal achievement of mine that
Ooh, okay.
I want to
Go
share
on.
with y'all, my dear friends.
It's food.
I consider myself an okay baker, but out of all the things I've never been able to make a good chocolate chip cookie. For whatever reason, it's eluded me or whatever.
Secret's just a little bit of sea salt at the end. That's all you got to do.
Grub, I did add that this time, baby.
Yeah.
But look at this bad boy.
Wow. Man,
It's
that looks
hard.
delicious. I want a
Kind of.
cookie.
It's
That's
like,
a plump boy.
yeah, like look at this shit.
Looks like
Wow.
the rolling
Ah.
hills of the Appalachians.
Yeah,
I
that's
want
not
to
a
eat them.
cookie, Jan. That's like a scone or something. That's big.
No,
Big
so
cookie.
okay, this is my. Now I told y'all before the podcast that I was going to keep it to one grievance. I'm actually going to have a second grievance.
No,
today.
Okay.
you could have one grievance per like topic. Like
Yeah,
that was
this
a
is the
different
cookie
topic. This is a new
grievance.
one. Yes.
My new grievance is I followed a recipe from Levain Bakery. Levain Bakery is a popular bakery in New York. My partner loves their cookies, so I thought like, oh, let me give it a shot. I look at the recipe and I'm like, these motherfuckers, they're making a scone. Sean, you're 100% right. It's not a cookie, it's a fucking scone. There's
Wait,
too much butter in this shit.
So would you say the thing you made was unleavened? It's a baking joke.
Man, you and Manani, Sean's gonna like throw a curveball at me today. God.
This is why they do a podcast together, Jan.
Yeah.
They pop themselves. It doesn't matter if the audience likes them.
Jeff, that gift I sent you yesterday,
Yeah,
return
it's
it.
on the way back. Don't worry. I understand. Yep. I'll get right on it.
good.
Yeah, Grub, hit me with a dad joke button.
Yeah. Oh,
Got it.
hang on. Give me a second. The kids stole it. It's right over here. So I'll be right back.
Kids, they can't get enough of them. Okay. Those cookies. The cookie you made reminds me of the Gideon's cookie in Disney World. Okay, I said it.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
I was worried. You ever watch Brian Lagerstrom?
No, who is that?
That's a food YouTuber who does baking. He did a giant chocolate chip cookie breakdown
okay.
video at one point.
I missed when y'all were talking about food YouTubers. I don't want to start beef.
I lost the dad
no.
joke button.
It's okay. We're talking about food YouTubers now.
I really detest Joshua Weissman.
Yeah, I don't look. The vibes are not there. I don't know him personally, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I was upset ever since he made a whole video where he was like, "I'm gonna make better cheddar baked biscuits than Red Lobster." Just talked about how much he hates the cheddar baked biscuits, anyways. Well, then stop making them.
There's just something off about him, and like
I don't trust him.
it's not quite like a dude bro thing, but it's not quite like a brain rot thing.
No.
It's just like I can't.
If you want a
keep it
better
down.
version of him, watch That Dude Can Cook. He is great. He also he's trying to start a gaming channel too. We should get him on sometime.
There we go.
His gimmick is that whenever his food is good, he does a different vignette in his backyard where he beats up a very old fridge, and they get more and more elaborate the way he attacks this fridge. So shouts out to That Dude Can Cook.
There we
Man,
go.
what the hell are you guys watching?
YouTube's so good. Oh, it's like most of what I watch anymore.
Yeah, I've gone the other way, Mike. I've just started watching Food Network.
That's how I started. Then I lost cable, and now I'm on this train. What?
Yeah,
is
Mike
Food-
and I are just like two trains in the night.
Yeah, ships
passing
passing,
each
yeah.
other.
I mean, is Food Network not just a bunch of reruns of guys' grocery games and diners, drives, and dives and chops?
Oh.
Is there other stuff
Oh.
now?
Mikey, I gotta put you on the WrestleMania of cooking competitions, which is Tournament of Champions.
Oh. Okay.
They're on their sixth
They should call
season
it
now.
Tournament of Champions.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next week for another episode. He's been Sean. He's been Mike. He's been Grub. I've been Jan. We'll see ya. Anyway, Tournament of Champions. They take a bunch of like high profile, I guess not celebrity chefs, but popular chefs that have been on other cooking competitions. So Top Chef champions, Chopped champions, Guys Grocery Games
Does this have
champions.
Iron Chef branding or no?
No Iron Chef branding, but some ex-Iron Chef people like Stephanie Izard.
Okay.
And they will put them in like a top 16 bracket for them to go against each other. It's real good stuff. Also, there's a the neat thing about it is that there's a randomizer that picks a protein, a style, another thing, another ingredient, and then like a time limit. So each round is different. I think you could get in on season 1 and then kind of get the gist of it. There's heels, everybody.
Oh,
There's like underdogs and everything. It's great.
There always are.
The reason Mike thinks it's all reruns is because the only time we watch Food Network is when we're in a hotel room that we share together, and we get back to the hotel room at 1 a.m. and then we put it on for like 2 hours. That's the only time he's watched it in the last couple of years, which is all just grocery games or whatever it is. Guys, grocery games. Triple G.
I'm like, oh, this hasn't changed at all since I watched it when I was a different person.
Did you all know there's a new host of Man vs. Food? It's not Adam Richmond anymore.
I thought
I didn't even know that show was still on.
Ever.
I don't know. This makes me.
Did they bring it back?
I think they brought it back. Also, I think they've had a new host for like 8 years now, so he's not new.
They still just make that. Man, I thought that because he had the first couple seasons and then he was killing himself.
Yes.
So they tried to change it where he was like more coaching people to do the food challenges, and it wasn't exactly the same. But
yeah, I wanted to see the man die.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, he left the show 15 years ago, so it's quite a while ago. This makes me think, y'all, we could approach someone at Food Network and be like, "Hey, we got a couple of lovely dudes here with interesting food preferences. Wouldn't you like to see them tour the world and try new things together?"
I don't want to try new things.
Yeah, that's the problem with this show, Jan. They just won't do anything.
Yeah, but Mike, like what, we could go to different Disneys. What about that?
You're lying.
Man, the least new thing you could have said, but yeah, good try to get him on board there.
You're trying to say that, and I know I'm going to end up in some air conditioned hotel in some hot place, and they're going to serve me something that scares me.
I'll try new things, but it's more fun if Mike does it. I know,
I
exactly.
just saw someone in the chat describe Dan as being boring with food now, aka normal, which is just hilarious.
That's why it's so weird when he is still upset about something, like the idea of mayonnaise being an ingredient in something.
Yeah. Remember when we were at SGF and he was like, I'm not consuming any, oil, was it? And we're like, Dan.
Oil and everything.
Oil, right?
Like, what are you talking about?
Yep.
How bizarre. Just like Turbo Sean McDowell has been playing a game that is not pronounced bizarre.
We
but
think.
BAZR?
I think it's BAZR. Pretty sure it's BAZR.
Jeff Bezos?
Oh God, don't compare this to that. This is a good thing.
Is there a shop? Is it like a bazaar? Like, is it like that? Like,
is it because at some point a character goes, "So long, gay BAZR"? That was good.
I'm gonna hate editing this one.
That was a Mario 64 joke. That's great.
Okay, yeah, Mario 64. So this is a ROM hack that I played on GB Kids yesterday. So make sure to check out the VOD if you didn't. Jan hung out with me for that one. This is a ROM hack that came out of a what is it called? Simple Flips Chaos Mario Team Competition. I have the page in front of me. That's the only reason I know that. But yeah, this was a competition that Simple Flips put together where I found out apparently. So it was a small amount of people in total, and he actually commissioned them. So basically, he compensated them for their time because ROM hacking is hard, and we got a whole bunch of really cool Mario 64 ROM hacks out of it. And this is one that I've been seeing some people play, and it was really interesting to me. Also credit to once again Anonymous, Moose, Furious Fight, and SPK. They were a team who put this one together. This is Mario 64, but it's a roguelike deck builder. And if you want to get a little more buzzwordy with it, it's Balatro Mario 64. It's crazy. You spawn in, you're presented with a level. It's a painting in front of you, Mario 64. You know how that goes. You jump in the painting, you go to a level. The thing is, B, A, Z, and R, like jump, crouch, slide, all those buttons on the controller. Instead of just having access to jump and punch and everything like that, instead, a deck deals a card out to each of those buttons. And what the card has is what that button will do for a limited number of uses. So like if your A button gets punched, well, your A button is punched for like 4 times. If B is backflip, you get backflip twice. And then when you burn the card, you go to the next one. Another one gets dealt out of the deck.
Okay, so once the card burns, you automatically get a new card.
Yes, you get dealt a new one. And the idea is to get a star before you run out of card actions. So you have a limit. It's really cool because then you have to think about things differently. You have to think about the fact that you have a limited number of jumps, of flips, of combat moves like punches and the break dance I was using to actually take enemies out and stuff.
Offensive breakdancing, yes.
Yeah, it makes you think about every action that you're going to take and turns Mario 64 into like a puzzle platformer. And yeah, I was playing on stream for like 2 hours yesterday. I was having a blast because it's just we talked about this when Dan was playing that one shooter game. I forget which one it was, that little like retro one that what Donkey's team picked up recently.
Oh,
and
yes, I'll get it.
Yeah,
Hang on.
Yeah,
Legend of Stardom or something like that. I got it right here in my library.
But while we were playing that, we were
Star
talking
of Providence.
There you go. We were talking about roguelikes in general and how they usually don't click with me. But for me, when you take a concept that is very arcadey or something you really, really know, and then add a roguelike element to it, it just makes a more interesting way to experience something you already know. That's what this ROM hack is. It's a very polished ROM hack. You enter into like Luigi's little casino, and there's all these little like nice little things. So Luigi's like the dealer. So you also like, the Balatro shop between rounds. You go up to Luigi, you can buy new cards. You can go over to Vivian, she'll like enhance the cards that you already have. Or you can go up to the homie Monty Mole.
Monty Mole!
5-card Monty, 15 coins. He'll shuffle up the cards, you get a random one. It's really funny. There's so much charm. And like between rounds, between stars, basically. You can go up to the various characters in the casino, talk to them. There's little dialogues and everything. And I think where the game gets really interesting is that there's some wild cards you can get. Because I just described like punch and jump, backflip. These are like pretty, it's Mario 64 stuff. But how about Rocket, which is just Mario goes straight up soaring in the air like he has the rocket nozzle from Super Mario Sunshine.
Oh, right.
They implement Cloud Mario from Galaxy, where you can put a platform beneath you while you're in midair.
Mario, that's my favorite power-up.
And there's some even more wild ones. There's Totsugeki from May from Guilty Gear, where Mario hops on a dolphin and rockets across the stage. There's Relicio Physics that I got yesterday. What happens when you draw that? Physics are just whatever the hell the game decides they are at that
John,
point.
You're forgetting about the most important card here.
And yeah, what's up, Jan?
The Mario Choir.
The Mario Choir. When you draw that one, the music is replaced with Smooth McGroove style Mario doing the music a cappella.
That's very good.
They had so much fun making this, you can tell. And it's just incredibly polished and a lot of fun. And I've been having a blast playing this. I was doing some runs before the show here today. Like, I'm hooked. It's a lot of fun.
Would you say that you benefit playing this game because you are so into Mario 64? Do you think maybe okay? Because I was wondering like if that holds you back. 'Cause my concern would be like, it's second nature to me at this point playing Mario 64. It's basically riding a bike. I go in there, I play that game. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just doing. So if things move around on me, I might feel like, maybe someone who isn't as familiar might have a better chance with this. But you've been malleable with it, and it's been good for you.
Yeah, and so I would say that obviously, like if you've never played Mario 64 before, I wouldn't. I wouldn't jump right into this one. But if you've played Mario 64, you've played 3D platformers, that's your thing, then this is a fun way to do something new with it. It's like with Pokemon, you're not going to start Pokemon by the first time you've ever played it doing like a Nuzlocke or an Ironmon run or something like that. But if you are familiar with the games, even a little bit, then you get into this more advanced rule set because it's more of what you're looking for. That's what this is for me right now. It's just revitalizing a game that I really love and playing a very unique spin on it. It's really cool.
Yeah, I like that you also have to practice restraint because, Sean, you were saying this a lot in the stream yesterday, that you generally are super gung-ho about exploring a level real quick.
Yeah. Here,
because you can't even jump up to go through some stairs, you have to be more reserved with how you're approaching things. I also like how it just gets you to think with this tool set a completely different way that, I don't know, I would like to see in a different platformer. Some folks in chat are saying, like, I wonder if you could implement this in like a Mario Maker type of thing.
I was thinking
in a
last
Glover.
night.
Yeah.
This feels like the kind of thing that obviously there's references to other properties and stuff that they wouldn't do. Like I mentioned, Guilty Gear and Exodia's in here. If you get all 5 pieces of Exodia, it gives you a random star. That's really funny. But outside of that, it actually feels like the kind of thing weird Nintendo would do themselves. It feels like a NES remix style of thing, and the quality is there. That it feels like like a complete product that they put together. It's awesome.
Do you think that they could, if they wanted to, let's say, put this on Steam, remove all the Mario stuff and replace it with generic stuff or new stuff? Or like, let's say they teamed up with a bunch of indie games and replaced it with like Shovel Knight characters and things like that. Do you think this game could stand on its own?
I genuinely think it would. I think this is the kind of thing that like could pop off if they wanted to remix it in a way that was their own and not just a ROM hack. But at the same time, ROM hacking is very much its own art form because you have a base to build on. Like the second you get into making your own game and having to build an engine, build original assets and everything, that takes so much damn time, takes so much effort. And again, especially like if you're getting like a little bit of cash to put together a ROM hack, that's like a sustainable thing you can do in your free time. But investing in making an indie game, that's why you don't see as much of that as people just, putting together a ROM hack with something that they already know. So it would be cool to see though.
Hammond says he'd love to see this for Star Fox, and it's like, man, the next Star Fox should be a roguelite. It absolutely should be. Basically, already is. Just
they already did stuff. One.
Speaking about Nintendo 64 games, Mike Minotti, you have continued down the N64 memory train by checking out Bomberman Hero.
Yeah, my Nintendo 64 apology tour basically was.
We're appreciative.
I finished Mischief Makers and I talked about that. Bomberman Hero is another game that I played as a kid and liked. Never got super far into. I think it was kind of a rental for us. I think most people remember Bomberman 64 for the system, which was a more traditional Bomberman game. It had this great adventure mode that was like, very puzzle based. Bomberman Hero is more of a traditional, just single player action adventure game where you happen to be Bomberman and you're throwing bombs, but it's actually just super fun and charming. And it's kind of a simple game. It's in more that that Super Mario 3D World style where you have these sort of short bursts of levels and they're relatively linear. There's some that open up more. Just something about being Bomberman, running around throwing bombs. There's actually very good boss fights. The music is great. The main song especially is a big bop. So yeah, I had a lot of fun going through this one. I actually just ended up playing through the whole thing in like 1 5-hour stream. It was, fun enough to do that. Some challenging bosses at the end. It has the Bomberman upgrades still where, you get those fire things and your bombs, or drop more bombs, bigger explosions. It can be a little bit annoying because when you game over, you lose those. So you can like go back to a boss fight, but you don't have any upgrades. So it's like, okay, we'll go to an old level and get some upgrades again, then go back to the boss fight to make it easier. So that aspect was maybe a little frustrating, but not a huge deal. Generally, I thought this was a really fun playthrough. This isn't like some big hidden gem for 64. I think people know about it, but it's not a first round pick, right? People don't name this one if they start naming 20 and 64 games or something, but I think more people should look at it if you have an affinity for that system.
I want Bomberman to have like a renaissance.
Yeah. Bomberman had a. Go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to say Super Bomberman R launched with the Switch. They did Super Bomberman R2 within the last couple of years, but I think what we're talking about here when we say that, Jenks, I feel the same way, is get a little bit more experimental with like what you were doing with like have one 3D game every 10 years or something like that again. I know that at this point it's like we kind of whiplashed back from those 3D games were interesting, but let's just get back to what Bomberman really is. And it's like, well, we've had that for a long time now. Maybe let's flip back and try some other stuff again. I would really welcome that.
Yeah, but Bomberman was kind of was popping off there in this 64 era because you had Saturn Bomberman before that,
right?
Which is like maybe the most beloved of those
10-player
one. Yeah.
Ooh.
And then yes, the 64 had the 2 64 games. The sequel is pretty rare now, but and Hero. So yeah, they're just doing a lot of interesting things with Bomberman at the time. And then 9/11 happened. I don't know. I always
It's a surprise Oklahoma City didn't take this guy down. It took 9/11 to make it happen.
It was rough to have.
Oh, boy.
It's rough.
Was not expecting that. That one got me.
Oh,
There you go.
I thought of a joke, but I can't bring myself to say it.
Just text it to Mike and have him say it.
Konami, get your checkbooks out. We need.
Go ahead, Jen. Sorry.
We need a 2D Bomberman game that is an action platformer, perhaps of the splatformer subgenre. They already tried to take your lunch with Splosion Man. That's pretty much just Bomberman.
Yeah. That's actually not bad. That would be fun. Give him like a DK64 or DK94 moveset, but with bombs.
Yeah, very different there.
Yeah.
There we go, Konami. Cut the check. Mike, you were going to say.
I just haven't accepted Konami as the owners of Bomberman yet. I don't know why. I mean, they do, right? And they did the Bomberman R games, but I always forget about Hudson Soft really not being.
Yeah, is that they're just gone, Hudson?
In 2012, Hudson was merged into Konami Digital Entertainment.
Yeah. I was looking at this because, and no one tell him, he won't listen to this. I was like, this is not, it wouldn't be a Blake Club or anything, but I found this is the Beast played this. N64 dating sim made by the Mario Party team at Hudson with mini games. And I'm like, I think I want to. And there's an English translation now that just got done in the last couple years. So it's like, man, Hudson made all those Mario Party games. When did they stop making them? It's like a long time ago they stopped making them. So it's like, what happened to Hudson?
What's the name of this game, Jeff?
I'll look it up. Just give me a second.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I was a big Bonk guy too. In fact, I think Bomberman Hero at one point was like originally supposed to be a Bonk game, and that's why like its kind of initial DNA feels so different from the other Bomberman games, even though it still has a ton of Bomberman flavor in there.
Well, the nostalgia tour doesn't end there with Bomberman Hero. Jeff Grubb, you've continued your adventures with Grim Fandango.
Yeah, I actually finished Grim Fandango over the weekend. That was a lot of fun. It was. It definitely got to the point where it's like, okay, I am at least on this game's wavelength a little bit. I still needed help very frequently. Like that's what those adventure games are. But you know, you begin to learn like everything you need to try everything on everything. So at a certain point, I was doing that to the point where I was stumbling across a couple of solutions. Just, you know, by happenstance through pure luck. But that luck was, you know, man-made because it's like, oh, you know, I'm just going to try this on everything. I just got a gun before I go up there. Let me try it on this thing before I go up the hill, that sort of thing. But really, I mean, I came to this game with the expectation that I would like the characters, the style, the music, and all that stuff hits so hard. So many like all-timer characters. Glottis is one of my favorites now. Every time I had any interaction with Glottis, who was like the big sidekick character, I was just in love. And that doesn't, that it really lives up to those expectations as well, like up through the end of the game. Like when you first meet Glottis, like, I hope he's great, and he always is. And then it does a really good job of mimicking its source material that it's pulling from, where it's like, okay, there are the twists and turns that you would expect from this sort of entangled wartime love story that they're going for. And I felt like, okay, they did that in a way that was like, I wanted that. It's what I expected. And yet I was still surprised here or there. And it's like, they just are really good writers over there at what was LucasArts then and Tim Schafer.
And Tim Schafer Double Fine now.
Yep.
Yeah, this is still one of my favorite games ever. It was so much fun watching Jeff play through it. I'm so glad that he finished it. But yeah, it's like, you know, the puzzles in these games, like, yeah, they're puzzles and something you kind of figure out, but it's much less like playing, you know, like an Obra Dinn or something like that, where it's like you sit down,
right,
you really logically think about it. The puzzles often are actually like just like, hey, you got to figure stuff out. Now go. This is the mechanic we came up with to force you to interact with as much of the world as possible, so you can see all the fun characters and dialogue we created for you.
Yeah, and that was like the other thing where it's like, okay, you know, I get another chance here to click on every line of dialogue or ask every question. And every time I got to one of those moments, I was like, oh, fantastic. We're back here where the game is truly shining. Manny saying something sort of sardonic or dry or sarcastic, and the other character's not really catching on it. That's what he's saying. It's just, and then them having their own sort of personalities It's really fantastic. I'm glad this is like my first real LucasArts adventure game that I spent a ton of time with. It really is a good entryway to that whole genre, I think.
Yeah, it has a ton of personality.
Yeah.
I think Manny's just a great main character. I never want him to stop talking and cracking jokes and stuff when I play this. And I do think, like we sort of touched on, though, it is maybe one of the more the puzzles are a bit out there even for a LucasArts game.
I
like
think so,
really making you click on everything and sort of just wander around for a while. I think that can get a little annoying if you don't want to get outside help, but if you do, like you were streaming, I'm sure, like if you got stuck, you asked the chat or something.
I was just asking chat. Yep, no shame about it. Like I
or,
understand what this game is.
Pull up a guide. It's 2025. Just pull up like a well-ringed guide or something.
We were all doing that even in '98, man. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Pull up a game fact.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I talk to your doctor about game facts, everybody.
Yeah.
I just think that it was really pleasant. It does make me want to like continue down this line a little bit. I was mentioning to chat and telling Mike, I'm like, I might try the Dig or a handful of other LucasArts. Like, what's the motorcycle one?
Full Throttle and the Digger, because it's been so long since I played this one that like I wouldn't be able to help you. It would all be new to me.
Yeah, I would just play those games with a guide open at this point. It was like I'm totally fine with that.
Or we could play them together and figure it out.
Okay, yeah, we could try to. Yeah, that'd be fun. Okay,
if we want to.
A couple puzzle pals, perhaps.
Yeah, but there are also some other ones that I could like still guide you through. Day of the Tentacle is so fantastic.
Yeah, I need to play that.
And the first 3 Monkey Island games are must plays, I believe. Yeah. For this series, and they still hold up. And they did those anniversary editions of 1 and 2, so they're easy to play. And the GOG version of Crystal Monkey Island works fine. So,
how are the Sam and Max games?
Well, the first Sam and Max I think is an all-timer. I love Sam and Max Hit the Road. It's maybe the funniest one they ever did. I played through that again not too long ago. I never loved the Telltale ones like some people did. They're good. I think part of my problem is just that I loved that original one so much, and the voices are a little different. It has kind of, I don't call it an ugly game, but it has that 3D, like that sort of not cheap 3D look, but kind of we're a little bit on a budget here 3D look as opposed to just very pretty pixel art like the original one.
The name of that game, Sean, Gitter Love Choranai Party.
Yeah, someone in chat found it, and I was gonna crack up. It was actually Tokimeki Memorial, like one of the most well-known, revered visual novels of all time. And you're just like, it's some dating sim that they made on the side.
Well, I would have felt the same way about that. I've heard that word before, Tokimeki Memorial, but I have no idea.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Final stop on the nostalgia tour. Sean, you have been continuing to play Crazy Taxi 3. And it keeps surprising me that they made a third one.
Yeah, well, Jan, I get that from you. You're not a CT3 guy. But when I brought this up in the chat the other day, everyone basically had the same reaction of everyone's split between, wait, they made Crazy Taxi. Hey, Mike has it there.
I have it. They did make it.
Yeah, basically everyone went, wait, they made a Crazy Taxi 3? But then the other half of the audience was, they made a Crazy Taxi 2? Yeah, actually, which I get because, that was... I think Crazy Taxi 2 is an arcade. I've never seen a machine, but I think it was an arcade, and then it was on the Dreamcast. Crazy Taxi 3 was Xbox exclusive, like Mike just held up there, and then there was an arcade machine as well.
You mean the Dreamcast 2?
That's what I was getting at, actually, is like the Dreamcast lineage was basically split between, a lot of people say, the Xbox is the Dreamcast 2, as well as like the GameCube got a lot of that as well. You got ports of Sonic Adventure, you got Phantasy Star Online. Like they basically split their attention between those two consoles, and then PS2 was whatever. They put most of the multi-platform stuff there as well. But yeah, Crazy Taxi, like I keep mentioning, is just a fun trip down memory lane. I keep getting better and better runs. The other day in Crazy Taxi 1, I finally got one over $10,000 again. So that meant that I got the awesome rating, which felt good to get back to. Crazy Taxi 3, though, is I've never really played this before this little trip down memory lane here with Crazy Taxi. And that's because it was so inaccessible. It's not backwards compatible on Xbox because, licensed music and all that, of course. But once again, fans coming through, sort of the theme of the games I've been playing lately. There's a tool called CT3 Tweaks that allows you to just like make some... It changes some things about the back end of the PC version of the game, which you can find online. It's abandonware. It's never been released anywhere. And it makes it so you can run on modern machines. You can run at high resolutions, high frame rates, and all that stuff, controller support. And what the game itself is it's sort of a compilation. That's what Crazy Taxi 2 kind of was as well. But 3 is the map from 1, the map from 2, and then a new map for 3. So it's only 3 maps, but it's an arcade game. That's kind of what I expect out of it. What's interesting is the mechanics, how they work. And the fact that in addition to everything you know about Crazy Taxi, such as the crazy boost and the crazy drift, which are better than before, they really refined it, so it feels really good. There's also crazy boost in reverse, so you can go backwards on a dime. And the crazy hop, I think it's called, where you can do a tiny little jump, but it allows you to get over like short buildings. It allows you to get extra air, like in the original Crazy Taxi stage, San Francisco, where you're going down the hills. You get some extra air and get a bunch of money that way, as well as implementing stuff like picking up multiple people at the same time from Crazy Taxi 2. And so it just feels incredible to play with all those little additions, and it allows you to have longer runs. It feels more like a console first game. When you play Crazy Taxi 1, it feels like the game, even though it's on your GameCube or your PC or whatever nowadays, it's trying to get those quarters from you. It's trying to like push you out. But Crazy Taxi 3 feels like a game where you don't even have to be that good at the game to realistically have like a 20 plus minute run going. You just keep going, keep listening to the tunes, keep having a fun time, drive around this absolutely batshit crazy game that I still think is the epitome of what an arcade game should be, basically. And I'm having a blast, like getting better at it. It's like kind of like I was mentioning with BAZR, sort of just getting better with those runs. And that's what a roguelike originally stems from, is just the arcade theory of video games, of having lives, doing runs, trying to get the best score you can.
Yeah, run-based games.
Yeah.
Sean, I will admit, I've never truly loved Crazy Taxi. It's not, I have anything against it,
Friendship
but
over.
I never fell in love with it the way so many people did. And it's like, at this point, it comes up so frequently and with such reverence, and then people play it, and it's not like it's misguided nostalgia. Everyone genuinely loves this game. I feel like I missed out. So do you think Crazy Taxi 3 would be one, like, if I were to throw it on my Steam Deck and play it on there and try to like get it, like, would this be the right like re-entry point to go back and try to fall in love with the series?
Yeah, especially once you get some of the further tweaks beyond CT3 tweaks, like someone in chat mentioned, how are the tunes? And by default, they're not good in the PC version. But again, community, you can just add in the original soundtracks from the OG Xbox version and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I can like send you some links. I think that's actually how I've been playing. I've been playing on Steam Deck. I just do a couple of runs before bed each night, and that takes like half an hour to an hour, and it's maybe more energy than your typical wind down game. But I do think it's a great way to just like chill and watch some TV and stuff, and try to get that better run.
Yeah, I was playing this version not too long ago myself when I had the Xbox plugged in, and I kind of got a little bit of an OG Xbox kick. It's fantastic. I think it's the definitive Crazy Taxi game that we have, at least right now. We'll see what that new one is like. Because, it has basically everything you want from the first one and that map that they added in 2, right? But the new map here is Las Vegas themed. So that's really fun. That's, of course, a great place to set it. You still have those not those mini games, but the challenge mode with, like get those
Crazy Box,
strikes and all that. Yeah.
Or Crazy X, I think this might have been renamed too.
Yeah. But boy, Sega did a lot of heavy lifting on the OG Xbox. You were talking about that, Sean, but between this, the Outrun games, Jet Set Radio Future, even weird stuff like Otagi and whatnot.
Yes. Gun Valkyrie, I think, was Sega as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Sega was just doing Toe Jam and Earl 3, of course. Can't forget that. But they were just doing a lot of cool stuff on the OG Xbox.
Yeah. Very, very cool lineage there that they have.
Going from making money on the streets to the high seas, high profits, Jeff Grubb.
Yeah, so this is a game that just came out of early access. When I was playing, it was either early access or just coming out of early access. It is a turn-based Sid Meier's Pirates with some rough edges in terms of like the presentation. I was playing it on Steam Deck, so maybe some of the stuff doesn't happen on there, but like the mouse cursor, right? It's an animated little mouse cursor special for the game. Well, there's also like the transparency layer doesn't work, so there's like a white box around it or whatever. I'll live. You basically go from city to city, buying low, and then go to you set your boat to go to another city to then sell high. And it is a fully, I guess I won't say fully realized economic like simulation, but there are ramifications to everything you do. So when you go to a city and you get a list of goods, you're like, okay, I'm just going to take my boat up to whatever this one port, and I'm going to click on the shop. Let's start trading. You see how much everything costs to buy one. You see how much everything costs if you were to buy 5 of everything. It's usually much cheaper. And then you can also see like important details like how much it cost, what was the price it cost the manufacturer to produce this item in the first place. So you can compare it to like what you're paying to what it actually the raw materials cost. So it's like, okay, this thing cost them $80 and they're charging me like 140. That's a huge markup. I probably shouldn't buy that, but it's $80 and you can get it for 95. All right, well, that's much more reasonable. I probably can turn a profit on that. Now, of course, if it's $80 to make and you can find it in one city for $70, well, obviously you buy as much of that as you possibly can, except every time you buy something, the price goes up because it's reacting to your behaviors. So you're feeding the economy. The demand is higher. So now you have to like consider that. And it's like, this is exactly the kind of game that I want. I want to play around in economic models. That's what I always liked about Sid Meier's Pirates. A lot of that stuff was happening in the background or unaffected by your behaviors, but it was like randomly being affected by something that was supposed to be modeling a wider, broader economy as opposed to just one ship coming into port and buying stuff and affecting the price. But at the end of the day, it's pretty similar stuff. Now, I'm not sure what else is happening in this game because when I kind of going through the tutorial. And in Sid Meier's Pirates, you get in ship combat it's real time, and that was actually pretty decent. And you could upgrade your ship and get different kinds of things you were shooting out of the cannons. So it's like, okay, I'm going to shoot these grape pellets to tear up the enemy's sails so they can't chase me or whatever. You can make decisions like that. You would go and meet governors and have conversations with them and try to marry their daughters, and you try to marry the prettiest daughter you could find and all that stuff. There was more going on in Sid Meier's Pirates. I haven't interacted with any of those kinds of elements so far. So I'm wondering if they've focused entirely on the buying and selling, the arbitrage selling of it all, as opposed to those other elements, which I wouldn't be against, but I definitely want to have that flavor there to make it feel like, hey, I am a gentleman of the high seas, and I just happen to have this business that I run in the background. That's really my primary concern. But, when I present myself to the governor, I have these other things going on, and I can kind of role play a little bit. But, kind of the game itself is what I've been looking for. I just hope that they have the juice to like make it last, and it doesn't feel like, oh, I kind of understand. Like I hope the economic model that they're using behind the engine is complicated enough that I can maybe like have fun parrying with it, as opposed to being like, oh, I kind of get this. If I just sell here, buy there, I'm always going to win. And I don't know if that's the case yet.
Speaking about numbers, I've been immersed in a factory with numbers. I talked about this a couple weeks ago on the podcast. Nubby's Number Factory.
Right, you're the one that mentioned this. I downloaded this. I haven't played this. Remind me what this is.
This is a fever dream of a Flash game, but Peggle.
Right.
There have been so many different Peggle likes to pop out after Peggle 1, Peggle 2. Peglin I never quite got into. I think the RPG mechanics of it has got in the way for my own preferences. But Nubby's Number Factory, the gist of it again is you have a general target to hit, and that is a number, and the pegs on the board equate as you hit them, they add up to get to that target number. Now, if you keep hitting a peg that it disappears, like say it says the number 2, and you hit it twice, it disappears, it re-racks and then adds up. So it's kind of it becomes a numbers game of not only do you want to hit the high target number, but you also want to clear all the lower pegs so they add up so you get nothing but high numbered pegs. And then the game gets incredibly weird because it adds items to buy And those items range from when Nubby dies. So when Nubby falls
dies?
off the board. I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to spoil it.
Oh no.
When Nubby dies, like in effect, your item pops off, or when you first fire Nubby off onto the board or whatever. Don't worry, Mike. You get more Nubbies if you
Yay.
clear the board.
Nubbies for Mikeys?
Nubbies for Mikeys. You get more Nubbies if you clear the board on your first go. And depending on how well you perform and you re-rack and stuff, and you clear the pegs out, you will get more lives. It is such an insane time waster. And I think I'm really bad at the game, though. Because on top of that, you get a loot, and the loot affects not only your specific items, but also just like different conditions on the board. There are like boss encounters. And yeah, I quickly find myself falling into the same trap I did with Balatro from last year. And Nubby's Number Factory. I yearn for the factory now.
You're for the Nubbies.
Yeah, I saw a friend like fill up her board, and it was just nothing but like 10,000 for each individual peg, and here I am like a dope with like, oh hey, cool, the highest peg I have is 512. I'm so good. Oh fuck.
I mean, I just bought this game largely because I find the aesthetic of it looking like a, I don't know, 1998 website game.
Yeah.
Yes.
So so surprisingly nostalgic to me.
And if
wow.
you go to the developer's website, it looks like a 1998 website as well.
Mob Dog Productions, I believe.
I've said it before. If we had unlimited budget and time, I would remake the Giant Bomb website to look exactly like this. That's what I would do, but not possible.
Oh my god, yes. I want our video player to have like a shitty TV in front of it.
Yeah, or just it actually does only work in Real Media Player. Yeah.
Yeah, QuickTime. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is cool to see games like this popping off a little bit, though. I pulled up the Steam page. Yeah, it came out about a month ago. It's one of those games that, yeah, it's $5, overwhelmingly positive with like close to 3,600 reviews. I like to see more projects like this. I think that's sort of the kind of theme of what I was talking about today, of just seeing these smaller projects, these indie projects, these just real passion projects put out there and really taking off with people. Because I think that's, you know, we're in an age of a lack of sustainability in gaming right now. And I do think that this is the kind of thing that I want to see more of. I want to see the industry move in a direction that is smaller. You don't have to get as small as Nubby's Number Factory necessarily, but it is cool to see people appreciate something like this and say that, yeah, you know what? I can just... So what if it's a time waster? You know, not that you're saying that disparagingly, but
yeah,
who cares if it's just like, yeah, I sit down, I play this for like an hour or two, like every night while I'm, you know, watching the Food Network or whatever, and just big chilling. And that's
Sean,
what gaming is.
Watching me at home, dog.
Hey man, you leave the camera on. That's your fault. I just think that it's really sick that people are appreciating these smaller releases.
Yeah, we'll talk about a small release during the news segment, actually. But I'm in need of a coffee break. Mike Minotti,
let's do it.
Can you like quickly guide me though to this Disney Villains Cursed Cafe and what I can order?
Yeah, it's funny because like Sean's talking about like, you know, making smaller games. I think this is so neat that Disney sort of got this small developer, Bloom Digital Media, that does just make, you know, what looks like a bunch of visual novels, right? They're a visual novel studio. It's like, yeah, make one of those, but for us. The whole thing here is that you run this magical cafe that is patronized by a bunch of Yassified Disney villains, right? Like they're it's like, you know, Gaston and Ursula, Maleficent, but they're wearing slightly modern clothes.
Oh, you were in King. Gaston's hot. What the hell?
Yeah, yeah,
they're
right?
all so slutty in this game. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a visual novel, right? Like the gameplay elements is picking different dialogue options, and you know, when they order a drink or potion is rather, and they all have different magical effects. It's sometimes they want something very specific. It's some of the gamified stuff there as well. Maybe what they actually need is something else, or you can just give them the wrong thing and they get mad. So there's a bit of sort of branching narrative stuff happening there. But mostly it is just about this sort of fun dialogue. And the dialogue is actually pretty fun. It's surprisingly funny. Like Jafar was like, "Oh, how do I rule this world?" And I was like, "Oh, you got to be in the 1%." Was the one dialogue option. I'm talking about capitalism with Jafar in this game. And then like it just kept going to eventually I was explaining cryptocurrency to Jafar.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
I bet he loves that shit.
Oh yeah, Jafar started his own coin. It's called Wish Coin.
Oh my God.
my
Are you
God. Really?
serious?
Yeah, well, yeah, he's got Wish Coin now.
What the
He
hell?
loved the idea
That's
of
great.
not real money that people will pay him for anyways. So yeah, he gave me a stone and said it was a physical representation of my virtual Wish Coin. Wish with a Y, by the way, he said, for copyright reasons.
So yeah, I'm sure they could trademark that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the dialogue is actually kind of funny and it's interesting. Yeah, for a Disney head like me, it is just fun seeing these characters like this. But boy, I just think this is a really neat project. I know, John Drake's a friend of the site, everything, but as a Disney fan, I really do approve of the way that they've been kind of approaching games recently, where they're doing a good mix of things, and that includes this kind of tiny project from this small studio that specializes in a niche genre. But hey, we're gonna let them play with the Disney license. I think that's great.
Yeah. That's cool. Mike, did you ever play like Coffee Talk or Nirvana or anything like that?
No, nothing like that.
Okay, that's definitely, I think, what this game is going for. Coffee Talk was a game where you run a you run a coffee shop. You are the barista. Someone comes in, asks for an order. It's very simple. You mix like possible like 8 different ingredients together in the way that they want them, and then you just get a visual novel style branching dialogue thing where you kind of just get to know the people better, and it's just a chill little thing. And Nirvana before it, same thing.
That sounds like the vibe here for sure.
Okay, cool. That makes me kind of interested. I will say, I think I'm at the point where this is only on PC right now, right?
No, it's actually on it's on everything.
Oh, well, right. It was
in
the Nintendo Direct, but like outside of those, it's Switch and PC, right?
No, I think it's Xbox and PlayStation even. It's everywhere.
Okay, it is everywhere. But what I was getting actually led with this, it's not mobile, is it?
I don't think it's on mobile, and now I'm not sure why when you ask me that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I feel like this would be like great Apple Arcade kind of thing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I would love to play that. Also, chat's pointing out I meant Valhalla. Nirvana's the sequel that's coming up, but either way.
All right, folks. Now that Mikey talked about brewing some potions, I'm gonna brew a quick cup of Joe, and we'll be back with...
I'll talk about Psycho Patrol R next week. That's the new one from the guy that made that crazy game. That also looks a lot like Nubby's Number Factory. Yeah, I'll check that out next week. I know people were asking about it.
Oh, also, I've been playing Wanderstop, and I keep forgetting to talk about it, but we'll talk about that next week as well. See you right after this. This is Jeff Grubb with the news. Jeff Grubb.
Howdy. Yeah, the Psycho Patrol R. It's the one from the team that did Cruelty Squad. So,
Oh.
yeah, that just came out like last week. It's in early access. But I'm very curious to check it out. Anyway, got some news for y'all. First up here, Click Click Bomb, available now on Steam. Apparently.
Wow.
We go right now. Let's see this. Click Bomb and see if it's oh yeah, there it is, available for free, but I still want to get codes. For some reason I think I'm with you. We should still get codes. All right, added it to my account. That is the idle game starring some people who you are looking at right now. You guys should go check it out if you have not yet. Chuck Tasky made it with some help from the community and all that. Shout outs to you all. Available on Steam. That's very cool that you're able to put it out on there. I love that. All right, Final Fantasy IX anniversary. It's going to be 25 years old this year. They've got plenty of merch for you. They've got some character redesigns. Like, hey, we've improved the textures on these character models, and then they said they will have various projects. Is Final Fantasy IX remake finally happening?
Oh, I sure hope so. I mean, it was in that NVIDIA leak forever ago.
Yeah,
Correct.
Jensen's prophecy.
Yeah, and so many things have happened from that were there, including like Kingdom Hearts 4. I think that's the first time we saw that. A couple things that we haven't seen is the Final Fantasy IX remake and Final Fantasy Tactics also, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, look, it's not outside of the realm possibility that this is just a marketing campaign and this is just all about selling merch and things like that. But boy, this site is kind of already a bit more elaborate than I was expecting. There's a lot of stuff here. They're talking about projects. This thing's been rumored anyways. And we have a pretty big event happening in just a day here. And boy, it's hard. It's far from a guarantee, but that Nintendo Switch 2 Direct sure would be a cool place to reveal the Final Fantasy IX remake.
And we're not talking like remake in terms of Final Fantasy VII, right?
No.
It's just like kind of like a light facelift.
Well, a bit more than that, right? Like I imagine something in that Persona 3 Reload area is what I think, where relatively one-to-one, but completely new assets. Here there would be voice acting, right? New CG cutscenes. Maybe even a bit more than that in some sense, because this is a PS1 game that we're remaking here, right? So, but no, I bet it'll still be like that classic combat system, right? It's not going to be completely reimagined. It certainly isn't going to be turned into a trilogy and have all these sort of weird multi-dimensional aspects or whatever. I think it'll be more straightforward. But a remake nonetheless.
Yeah, FF7 messed it up for the sake of marketing. Clever marketing, I'll give them, but that's not a remake. That is a reimagining. That is a new project.
Yeah, or it's like, remake with like a wink when you say remake. Like,
exactly. Yeah, no, the P3 Reload, and then, way back in the day, stuff like what the Resident Evil games do. Even like 2 is
Yeah.
pushing it, but yeah, like RE1 remake, RE4 remake, yeah.
Yeah, I think like the RE1, RE4 remake is even that's maybe a good idea of what kind of remake I am expecting. And to be clear, so excited. I love Final Fantasy IX so much. I like the series a ton, and this is most likely my favorite of those single player games.
Really?
Oh yeah, it just has such a striking art style that's shown through even on the PS1. It was maybe the prettiest PS1 game. Of course, there's incredible music. There always is, but gosh, there's some good songs in this one. Great characters. Vivi is
Gotta
such a
love
good
Vivi.
boy. Vivi is the bestest boy that was ever boyed. And it's just like the story goes in interesting places. It has a lot of heart in it, but there are also like some things that could be improved. Maybe some of the late stuff with the plot could be smoothed out a bit. There are some party members who get a little bit lost in the shuffle towards the end. I would like to see them maybe given more things to do in the story or have more sections devoted to them. So yeah, the idea of just revisiting Final Fantasy IX and maybe doing some kind of super definitive version of it or whatever they are up to, I'm just super excited to see it. My only concern is the voice casting, because before, when they've given voices to some of these characters and things like Dissidia, even Vivi's voice in Kingdom Hearts 2, I'm always like, these aren't the voices I imagined for these characters.
Yeah. Those are also very much projects where it's like, who can we get on this character? You know, it's like how
Lance
many people
Bass.
are gonna? Yeah.
Hey, don't you dare besmirch the name of Lance Bass.
He killed it. Of course he did.
Job, yeah.
There's some fun mini games. So yeah, Chocobo Hanko, Tetra Master, the card game here was never nearly as well liked as Triple Triad, but here's a point here to edit it a bit. Or you know what? Let's just put Queen's Blood in this too. What the heck? That stuff is great.
Yeah, so we'll maybe get the answer to the question hanging in the air about Final Fantasy IX tomorrow, or maybe not at all. Maybe not the rest of this year. Maybe it doesn't happen. I would bet on it probably happening though.
If you want to pop off, everybody.
Yeah.
Now that we're in kind of hype camp, and we're thinking about Final Fantasy, perhaps 9, perhaps the Tactics Advance, Grub. What's the likelihood of another Square property that bridges the gap with another big company, perhaps Disney? Maybe a Kingdom Hearts 4.
It's been a minute since we've seen anything from Kingdom Hearts 4, right? That was years ago now.
It was years ago. Basically, since that first reveal, I don't think we've seen too much more about it. Yeah.
That was a hot minute. What was it, like 3 years ago at this point?
Probably. And at the time, I was like, wow, this is happening sooner than I thought. Who knows? Maybe this game will be out like kind of soon. It's like, oh no, they did just announce that I thought they wouldn't announce the Kingdom Hearts super early again because they announced Kingdom Hearts 3 so early. Yeah, it was announced in April 2022. So 3 years ago. Almost exactly 3 years ago.
To be fair, I think Square Enix has learned their lesson a bit about ambitiously announcing a title that's not ready at all, and they just have a CG trailer for it. So,
yeah, I think that game probably does perk up again this year. There's a good chance of that.
Yeah.
Feels
some
right.
point or another.
Yeah, assuming that's not in any kind of trouble, that would feel right.
Right, exactly. Yes, all things being even. I mean, I bet Square Enix wouldn't hate the idea of that showing up in a Nintendo Direct, especially if they kind of aim it at the Switch 2. I think that's going to be Square Enix's kind of move here for the next little bit is let's try to position most things as a Switch 2 game and then put them on everything else as well at the same time. And I think that could answer or that could solve some of the problems they had with Final Fantasy being locked down on PlayStation. People not really knowing it's everywhere.
Because we kind of saw what happened when they almost positioned themselves as like a PlayStation quote unquote second party for a while there in these early PS5 days and late PS4 days. But, there's at a certain point you're limiting the audience. Those people are going to find the game too. Switch 2 is this opportunity where so many more of your games will just be able to run there. In fact, make your games designed to run on Switch 2 first. Then, of course, they'll look great on everything else anyways at that point. I kind of I hope Square Enix is really thinking hard about Switch 2 for all their projects now.
I hope so too. All right, let's kind of talk about the Nintendo news, and just real quick, it is April Fool's Day, so this is going to be a lighter news section. Nothing really from today. No one puts out news today. So yeah, we're going to go easy, but here's what we're talking about. Nintendo Switch 2 Direct got a duration announced. It's going to be 60 minutes. That's in line with what I think. Someone asked me, I'm like, I think it's going to be about 50 minutes, 50 minutes. It's 60 though, 10 extra minutes, everybody. So hey, that says to me, we get a good, hefty chunk, maybe 25 to 30 minutes focused on here's the hardware, the functionality, the interface, and then another 25 to 30 minutes focused on the games. And for a Direct, if they do it in the traditional Direct style, if it's, and who knows actually how it breaks down, but let's say it is 30 minutes of games, they do about one game a minute. So do you think that they're going to have 30 games in this thing? Like, obviously they'll be announced for not just for launch, for well into the future, but 30 games. Does that sound right? Plausible?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think it's plausible. I mean, they could rehash a bunch of existing stuff, right? And show off how there may be improvements. They could show Metroid Prime 4 again.
Probably a lot of that, yeah.
We'll see Breath of the Wild at 60 frames per second.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. There's going to be some that maybe get a little bit of a deeper dive. Like Mario Kart will get more than a minute. Likely, right?
Yeah, but on average, the way it broke down is like in a Direct, you get about one game per minute on average.
Yeah, I think this is going to be similar to the Switch presentation that they did in 2017 leading up to the console's release, which was, I looked up here on YouTube, also an hour long. So I think it just only makes sense that they show off the hardware for the first, 20 minutes to half an hour, like show off what's new services, new features, all of that stuff. And then spend the back half-ish talking about the games that are updated. As we know, games will be presented on Switch 2 in a unique way in some variety. We still don't know exactly what that looks like. They'll talk about that, and then we'll see anything that's new coming to the Switch 2 and the Nintendo ecosystem for the first time here, because Switch 2 gonna be a lot beefier. I was thinking about this. This was like a shower thought I had, where this is actually consistent with Nintendo. They put out a handheld that is basically the tech from 10 years ago that was in a console in a handheld.
Yep.
Like Game Boy's the NES, GBA is a Super Nintendo, DS N64, 3DS with a GameCube, and Switch with 360, I guess you could say. And so now we're at PS4 territory. So that's what we should be expecting. And with the leaks that are out there, the rumors, it seems like you're going to get any game that could theoretically have a PS4 version will show up on Switch 2, because that just makes sense. And
it's interesting how motion is relative. So they've done that consistently, and yet the industry's kind of moved closer to them, because the gap between a PS4 and a PS5 is as small as the console generation's ever been. So a Switch 2 coming out and basically being a PS4 just doesn't feel as crazy as when the DS came out and we were comparing it to the PSP, and it's like, man, they are so far behind. It's just a completely different world. Yeah.
And look how that turned out, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and Nintendo strategically always made the right decision. It always worked out on the handheld side. So, yeah.
I think what was going to help them is that the industry is actually scaling down a little bit. This isn't something that we're just talking about, hopefully. No, companies are slowly starting to make just, slightly smaller projects until we get to the point where we do reach sustainability again. Hopefully, that's a hopeful part. But that is good for Nintendo, because that means more games could theoretically run a scaled down port on Switch 2.
I wonder if some of that scaling process has kind of been in motion, not only from a lot of folks getting laid off across the industry, but also for companies dreading GTA 6. And trying to avoid that, or just slip underneath the radar.
You're not gonna be able to compete with that anyways, no matter what you do, no matter how high you quote unquote scale it.
Yep. Absolutely. Yes, exactly right. That's just money that you do not have, and they have all of it. So it's a completely different thing. Yep.
Do you think we're gonna see a celebrity tomorrow on this Switch 2 Direct? Perhaps John Cena.
Chris Pratt, yeah.
Chris Pratt should just host it.
John Cena's a bad guy now. No.
Well, no, he got over skin cancer, so he's still good.
Oh, okay. You're allowed to be evil if you beat cancer. That's right. That's how it works. Just look at Greg Miller.
I was going to make that.
Got him. All right. Other Nintendo stuff.
No, I
Please.
was about to do a real bad joke.
Oh, really?
Oh, he caught himself. He caught himself. Let's
All
move
right,
on.
Myself there. I was
We'll
about
let
to do
you,
a real bad April Fool's. Let's say.
Oh,
Jesus.
No,
Oh,
I
my
wasn't
God.
gonna. I had cancer.
Oh.
I wasn't gonna do that.
Oh.
Don't worry. It's fine. Keep bringing the news, Jeff.
Thank you, Cardi. All right, yeah. Other Nintendo stuff. The Nintendo Treehouse, which is like their North American localization team, sort of support team for developers bringing games here. They do a bunch of stuff. They will be doing 2 streams on April 3rd and April 4th to show off the Switch 2. This is something they used to do after E3.
Yeah.
Excuse me, all the time. So I'm expecting something along the lines of, here's some games that, were shown off and we're going to go deep with them, talking to the developers. They did one time announce a game during the Treehouse streams.
Damn Metroid game.
A Metroid game, Samus Returns.
Yes.
So keep an eye on
Maybe
these
we
things.
get something fun like that where they're like, nobody
Maybe.
cares about this thing, right? And it's like
Uh-huh.
F-Zero.
And that was crazy. Why'd they do that? Either way, I'm excited about that. Those Treehouse streams are fun to just put on and be like, oh, get some extra tidbits.
Yes,
It
absolutely.
does that. I remember the one E3. They didn't announce Smash Brothers during their E3 presentation. They
Right.
had that second smaller show where they announced Smash Brothers Brawl or something. I was like, well, I guess I thought this wasn't happening. It's happening here. Okay.
All right. Also, people have sent me some stuff from the update for Nintendo Today, the new app. If you click on the C button, according to this small video, Nintendo just shouts the word today at you. Okay, so in this video, I'll just describe it. It's 7 seconds. It's from the Nintendo Today app. They show the C button, which is the new button below the home button on the right Joy-Con for the Switch 2. So they have a thumb click it, and then it shouts today! ! Which is the branding for Nintendo Today.
Can you send me that video?
Yeah, it's in chat right now. It's added. I'll put it in there again. Hang on.
They're just teasing they're just teasing the C button, right? The today. I think that's something that's just the branding for the app, I suppose. I don't know, but
you don't think that the way that it's framed is saying that this is one of the things the button does is bring up the Today app?
Oh, I read it as this got released in the app early, and it was like they were being clever with the wordplay, as in the directives today.
Maybe
okay.
That.
I know that today is the name of the app, but that's how I was interpreting it. Maybe I'm off with there.
Well, yeah, I guess when I watched the video, you're like, there's enough of a beat between when they press it and them ending the app that maybe it is just a reference to the branding. That's probably...
they're just like, hey, we're gonna talk about this soon.
Yeah,
Hey.
I still think that pressing the C button is probably going to be some sort of hub that takes you to a lot of extra stuff that probably does contain
Community
Nintendo
or
Today.
communication.
Yeah, I've been thinking for a long time that it means community, maybe connect if they want to be huge.
Connectivity is back.
There we go. Connectivity compadres.
Yeah.
What if it's the compadres button?
Yeah, finally.
I don't know what that would look
damn.
like, if it's a Miiverse replacement, if it's some way, if it's like the friends list and everything is good now, actually, and they just made a dedicated button because they're Nintendo. I'm thinking it's something along those lines.
Oh my God.
Okay. My two outlandish ideas. One, what if it's just a cool button? It's just
It's the cool button, yeah.
cool dang,
button.
that was cool.
You press it and all the S's in games become cool S's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rob, do not.
Yeah, I
tease
know.
me with-
I know how to trigger you, bud.
The other thing, what if it's a chibi robo button?
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
well.
Yeah. A little a socket pops out of the Switch. You got to plug it in the wall. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. Sambo Nice pointed out that this video is from Japan, which the event is happening today in Japan.
That's
So it's-
probably just the thing for the daily calendar. Is
Yes,
that.
exactly. So it's like this is happening today, but later on, I guess.
Okay.
Right?
What if
That's how that works out. Yeah, I think so.
What if it's a chat button?
Could be.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
people.
again, yeah, that's the kind of thing where I'm like voice chat. If it's good, the friends list, inviting. Maybe they just dedicated a button to that for some reason.
I don't know where this comes from, but a lot of people have said campus. It's the
Right. I forgot.
and it brings up again. That to me sounds like a suite of connectivity features and
Yeah, I'm
community
expecting
features.
it to go to some kind of I doubt it's going to be just one thing. For
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, are we going to see friend codes tomorrow? Is it the C for code? Is it just friend code?
you just press it and your friend code comes up in Comic Sans over the screen.
Yes, over everything.
Wait a second. Maybe I like it.
Yeah, I like it a lot, actually. All right. Either way, we'll get answers for this here very soon. Within the next 24 hours, we will know what's going on. I'm excited. There was a direct last week. We've talked about it in a bunch of places, but we haven't not talked about it on the Bombcast fully. So let's just go over the big highlights here. It was a Switch 1 direct. It came out of nowhere mostly, although there were rumors. Tomodachi Life has really caught on fire, especially in Japan. But it's it has more likes on Instagram than the Switch 2 reveal in Japan. Tomodachi Life. It's that kind of game there.
I underestimated how crazy people got about it.
I did too. I'm like, I like it, but this is for freaks like me. And Dan was excited. I'm like, yeah, listen, we're gonna play this up a little bit, but we're kind of over exaggerating. I love the game, but it's like, I'm being a little bit, out of pocket with this. It's like, oh no, you know what? I completely forgot there is a huge audience of people for whom these kinds of games are everything. And it's like, my kids are that way. They love this kind of thing. Rhythm Heaven Groove got announced as well. So a couple of the weirder Nintendo franchises making a return. Rhythm Heaven Groove is a rhythm WarioWare kind of game, although it's not presented that way. It's from the similar team. Metroid Prime 4 got its most gameplay reveal so far. We saw psychic abilities. That seems to be the big thing here. Although, do you guys get the sense that we still just have seen barely anything from this game, even though we saw the psychic abilities? I feel like there's so much more in there.
I kind of feel like what we're looking at, that's Metroid Prime. Like, unless they're doing 3, it's like planet hopping with a menu and there's a lot of dialogue, which I don't think they would lean into too much.
Not.
We don't want them to.
I think it's going to be more like Prime 2, where like Silex is like Dark Samus. You have an antagonist throughout it, but basically it's going to be like Prime 1. I think they know what people want out of this more niche series. I think we're going to get basically that.
Then Marvel Comic Invasion, which is a beat 'em up from Tribute and .emu. It looks fantastic. The characters look like they are ripped from Marvel vs. Capcom 2 in the best way. It's very impressive looking.
It's so cool. And what's neat here is we've seen like 7 characters, and it's going to have 15 though. So there's still heroes in here that we haven't seen yet. It'll be fun to see who else is sort of plucked from that Marvel vs. Capcom lineup, who's sort of being introduced to this world, because we already have a mix of both of those in this initial lineup. I love Shredder's Revenge that Tribute did. I like beat 'em ups a lot. I like Marvel vs. Capcom. In fact, this is like my favorite way of thinking about Marvel is in this particular video game sense. So I'm pretty excited for this.
Yeah, my thing right now is like I have fallen hard off the MCU, but I loved X-Men 97 and Wisconsin. So I'm in the mood for X-Men beat 'em up and that sort of thing, and this is definitely a successor to that, while also kind of being bigger and more interesting in some ways. The 7 characters were confirmed are Captain America, Spider-Man, Venom, Wolverine, Storm, Quasar.
Oh, that's who that was. Okay.
So,
yeah, and then Nova. Weird. Who else would you want to see? Like in any just real quick? Names pop up.
I do think they should throw in a good amount of X-Men characters. I know they're not doing the X-Men game, but like I want to see Gambit.
Yep, Gambit's the one especially after X-Men 97, I would love to see Gambit. Yes,
right.
Yeah. I absolutely crushed it in that season.
You should have Iron Man in here. So
fuck Iron Man.
Or War Machine.
War Machine.
No, War Machine's worse. No.
I don't want to see a Sunday bus. That's my Sunday bus.
Get the leader of the goddamn X-Men.
They should do Cyclops.
They should do Cyclops. Absolutely.
Please.
Yeah, but you need one nerd. Come on.
I guess.
Yeah,
Nova's already in it. He's a nerd.
Put Beast in.
Beast would be good.
Okay, Beast would be cool.
We never really got much Fantastic Four aside from Doctor Doom in Marvel's Capcom, but I would like to see
the Thing.
The Thing or Johnny Storm or the Invisible Woman or something like that.
Yeah. Human Torch would be fun. Flying around stuff.
I would be fun.
I heard Invisible Woman is pretty popular these days, so I
wonder why.
Caked up sprites, is that what we need? I think all these characters should be in the game, and then also have their alternative skins, so you could play as the Kelsey Grammer Beast as well.
Oh yeah.
That's the game.
I can't believe Kelsey Grammer Beast is going to be in a new movie.
It's really,
don't worry.
Yes.
He's gonna die in like 10 minutes.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Patapon 1+2 Replay and Everybody's Golf also made their way to the Switch, or are making their way to the Switch. This is these games are published by Bandai Namco. They are still Sony properties. The Sony ownership trademark is in the fine print. This is not even the first time this has happened, right? Freedom Planet, is that
Freedom
a similar
Wars.
situation? Freedom Wars. I always mix those two up.
Freedom Planet is the fan game that plays like Sonic.
Yes, the Sonic game. Yes, I always mix those up. Freedom Wars. That happened with that as well. So they're continuing this, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I forgot about that the first time we talked
Me
about
too.
it. But yeah, that's a good point that they're just I mean, Bandai Namco seems sort of just, despite how huge they are, they do seem sort of like a work for hire thing in Japan where it's just like, oh, we need something done. Bandai Namco's got some team that'll do it for us. Pay them the right amount of money, they get it done, it comes out and everybody's happy. So yeah, I think that's making more and more sense that PlayStation's just like, look, y'all can do this thing. Everybody's Golf is a new game, so we're like licensing it out, and then Bandai Namco is publishing, and then another team is doing the development of it. So it seems like a weird spider web here, but if they're just like, we're hands off because a variety of reasons, I guess it makes sense.
It's just a little weird. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because they are actively making sure that the PlayStation branding is not front and center or even visible on any of this stuff. And I don't know, like, I know Patapon's not the biggest thing in the world, but you should be a little bit proud that is a PlayStation franchise. You should want people to just share that with you.
I would argue it's kind of the opposite, where it's such a hardcore property that maybe they're like, oh yeah, fan perception with the real hardcore crowd would be like, no, Patapon's our thing. What are you doing here? And
I guess, and I bet there definitely are people who feel that way, but we're turning a corner on all of that stuff, right?
We want to be, but like we talked about in the direct, it's a combination of like fan perception affecting how the market is received and everything like that. There's a whole weird nebulous, like I said, spider web of stuff happening there that makes it all kind of tricky.
Sorry, I just brought you guys a message. Let's see here.
I was like, what is he doing?
Yep, sorry about that. Then Disney Villains Curse Cafe. Mike talked about that earlier, but that got announced here. It was obviously not the only like Disney thing popping up there. Marvel as well, Marvel Cosmic Invasion. So Disney continues to see Nintendo as a home base for them. They did that Mickey game.
Disney Illusion Island,
which I think has still only ever been on Switch. Did that ever even come to PC?
I don't know. It was on PC. That's where at the Illusion Island. I'm thinking of the farming game. Sorry.
Yes.
No. Yeah, right. This game is still only on Nintendo Switch. Disney Illusion Island. Yeah.
Weird.
Right. And that's a multiplayer Metroidvania, which was a real fun play with the family. But yeah, I think that continues to make a lot of sense. Obviously, Nintendo and Disney, there's some synergy there in terms of audiences that they go after. So not surprised to see them sort of position this game front and foremost as a Nintendo thing. All right. Virtual game card. They announced that as well. It's their family sharing plan. I think I was surprised to see so many people like confused by this, but I guess like when going back and watching, it's like, okay, if you are not someone who has tried to do this with a family, having them lay it out like how like, oh, you're going to need to have someone who's like using your Switch account on this system. And then also if you have a family plan and all that stuff, like that stuff, like I imagined as I was struggling to get this to work with like 3 kids before. So it's like, okay, they're doing the thing I wanted. If you haven't done this before, it did sound a little bit like Greek.
That's exactly what I was seeing online, where like people who have never done anything like this are like, why are they doing this convoluted, weird system with like sharing a virtual item? And then anyone who's ever attempted a family plan is like, oh my God, this makes things so much easier. Yes, thank you. Just like simplify the system. It becomes like this virtual item that I send over to the person who I want to share the game with. They open it up. It's like they just have the digital game downloaded. It just works so much easier. Yeah.
I mean, it's like the digital game is a physical game that you lended to them. It's kind of exactly what they're saying, a virtual game card.
Yeah, I think you brought up on GBN of like the whole Xbox before the backlash thing in Xbox One era, of like being able to share your digital games this way as if they were a physical item. And everyone was like, no, we want the discs. And Nintendo's just like, yeah, but now we're at a point where this is a good idea, and I think y'all will like it.
Yeah, and I think Nintendo, for as much as, we had Reese Elliott on game breaking news as well, and he mentioned like for Nintendo, physical's still massive for Switch, but it is still trending in the direction of more and more digital every day. So this is Nintendo kind of predicting behaviors and being ready to catch people who are like, okay, for Switch 1, I'm buying physical games. I might go digital for Switch 2, but I just can't make it make sense because I have the kid I want to share a game with. Or, the other thing here is backward compatibility. People are going to get Switch 2. They already have a Switch 1. They're going to pass the Switch 1 on to someone else. And it's like, okay, you have all those digital games. We want to encourage people to keep buying digital because it does give us a higher profit margin. We don't have to worry about things like, let's say, tariffs for importing discs from Mexico or something like that. There are a lot of reasons why Nintendo wants to get this going. I'm glad that they finally did. I wasn't really sure if they ever would. Steam family sharing still way better, but this is going to work mostly for me.
You can't compare anything to Steam because Steam does basically everything better because it's their only business.
Yep, completely different situation. Yep. And then Nintendo today, we've mentioned a couple times, they announced this was the one last thing. They had Tomodachi Life, then Miyamoto comes out. It's like, I got something special for y'all, a phone app. And I'm just, Nintendo never change. It's a daily calendar news service thing that will update every day, at least, with a little piece of either information or some fun aside. A JPEG, for example. Who knows? It's weird as hell, but it's Nintendo's way of doing things. Obviously, I do think that they do this because they want to control their platforms.
Yes.
And I think the day that Elon Musk asked them for $40,000 a month to share images from the Switch, they were like, you know what? We never know what's going to happen with these platforms we don't own. We got to figure it out. This guy is weird and asking for money. We got to get out. Like, they're not going to leave these platforms where they have millions of eyeballs, especially Twitter. They have so much sway when they tweet anything. Yeah. They're not leaving, but they don't want to be beholden to anyone. Yeah. And so this is them like setting themselves up to have a way of like, we can announce the release date for the Zelda movie, March 17th, by the way, 2027. They announced that. That was the first thing they announced in the Nintendo Today app, basically. We can announce that there, and that will just find its way to every other platform. So we can control it where we're doing it, and it'll just go everywhere else naturally.
And that's kind of what they've been doing with like Nintendo Direct was originally, well, we don't need E3. Why do we need to like deal with these dudes? Like we can just do our own thing. Everyone will watch everywhere.
True
journalists.
I would follow Nintendo if they made their own social media platform.
I used Miitomo. I used Miiverse. Maybe I didn't use Miiverse enough to save it, and I apologize for that. But I used it a lot, so I don't think they'll ever like fully do that again. But I did enjoy them when they did.
The world needs them to.
Yep.
I need to tell everyone that I'm using tilt controls.
Yeah. Where's the unyaz in chat? Oh, there we go. All right. Finally, Ubisoft has a new subsidiary that is 25% owned by Tencent. This is like basically they spun off this other company that is owned by Ubisoft, and then also 25% is owned by Tencent. That 25% came because Tencent injected a few 1.16 billion euros. So that's going to give Ubisoft some cash to help fund development for these games going forward. The games that this subsidiary will focus on, and it has taken control of essentially, are Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. So not even like the full Tom Clancy suite. And yeah, I think that this is a move exclusively with the purpose of keeping the Yves Guillemot and the Guillemot family in charge of Ubisoft. They've said explicitly that's what they were trying to do. That's all this really accomplishes. And then it leaves anyone working on any other game, I think it's some weird purgatory of, wait, what happens to us? And it sounds like no one really knows.
Yeah, that was my big question. It's like, okay, so like, what does this mean for anything that isn't one of those three franchises? What is going on with that Prince of Persia stuff? Beyond Good and Evil 2, they swear is still a video game. Even things like, well, Just Dance, right? Like, how does that operating? Why is that separate? Is this some real corporate maneuvering that is beyond my understanding?
Yep. It's, I get that they're just trying to get some cash and save themselves in this moment. But I think the question we would all have is, okay, well, how does this, save the overall Ubisoft unit? How does this ensure that these games are successful going forward? And this answers none of that. In fact, it's like now Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six, just like always, but maybe even more so now, those games have to hit hard. They have to be more successful maybe now than they were before to justify all this. And that is, that's where Ubisoft has been for a long time now. So it's really not much has changed other than the corporate structuring and ownership a little bit. Tencent is invested in all kinds of game developers and game publishers. That is an old story at this point. They are not really trying to take over the industry in terms of running it, but they are trying to be invested in every aspect of the industry, and that hasn't changed, and this continues to be a big part of that. And they are definitely getting Ubisoft while they are down. This subsidiary, I think they valued at like $4 billion. Obviously, yeah, the 1.16 is 25%, so it's about a little bit over $4 billion. They're expecting that to go up if these games do indeed hit, and if they don't, well, Tencent's right there to take over these brands permanently, and that's probably where this ends up.
Yeah, it's still scary to see stuff, like this. Not understand what's happening. It's really sucked yesterday seeing more layoffs at Eidos in Montreal.
Yeah,
and that's just a studio that did nothing but make good video games, right?
Yep.
But they got embraced, and that sucked. And that Embracer Group is its own weird story about just strange, stupid things happening with money.
Yep, they laid off people from Crystal Dynamics last week, right? So Crystal Dynamics and then Eidos this week. It's nonstop, and Embracer's just a joke. They continue to be a complete joke. Even when they have successful games, it has done nothing to stem all of these layoffs. It's just been relentless. All right, those are the headlines that I'm including this week. Everyone else go enjoy your stupid April Fool's Day, and I'll hand the show back over to Jan.
They weren't even doing very many of them. I think everyone's still over it. And like when they are done, they have to be real also. Everybody understands. So
right.
Yeah.
And I think it's like everyone's like, we're already living a constant April Fool's. That's my life. Yeah. Please just don't do this joke anymore.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with emails right after this. Just kidding, we're doing emails now. Emails, bombcast@giantbomb.com is the email address to send your emails to. Write in about any and everything. I welcome all emails. The floodgates are open. I've unlocked the gates with my own personal digital keyblade. And I'm also digging through the spam folder. Don't worry. I make sure that none of the emails go there. If you have a fun quiz, if you want to ask Mike Minotti who he thinks is in the Wu-Tang group, or what is a song, or what cream stands for, you can do that. I love and appreciate all of the appreciation y'all have been sending our way. Try and share that with the crew when they come in. We love you. Thank you so much. This is for you. Keep that. That's right. Folks, first email of the show is, hello, Bombcast. Got another trivia fact for you. The origin of a chainsaw came from medical practice. At first, I don't like this. A chainsaw was a small chain with sharp teeth on it that was hand pulled. It'd be used to saw off diseased, infected bone. I should have read this at a time.
You put this in here.
I know. And at times help saw apart the pelvis to help with difficult childbirth. Little to no anesthesia then. I only know this from a history class I took in uni on the history of medicine. That fact has haunted me for years, so now you can share it with me. Thanks, Simon from Saskatchewan. All right, cool.
Saw apart the pelvis?
Yeah, at what point do you not just kill me?
Yeah, oh man, just kill me and take it out and let the baby fend for itself. I mean, I don't know.
All right, we're just gonna get past that now.
Just gonna leave that one hanging. Yep.
Yeah, we don't need to think about that anymore.
Yeah, I'm starting to think ladies might have been mistreated in history, guys.
No, listen, they had their month already. All right, March is behind.
You're right. You're right.
Okay?
You know what? Empathy. It's the weakness of the West.
God, there's that rough scene in the John Adams miniseries I love, where his daughter has breast cancer, and they just they show you how they take care of that back then, and I still think about that.
Oh, this is gonna be a great email segment. Hey, Randubun, help us. Okay.
No, I don't think so. After including that in the podcast,
I would like next email comes from Owen in Minnesota. I'd like to post a distinction in this live action versus animation debate for the Lion King movies and the like. Assuming they motion capture the actors for the scenes, even just their faces, I would say that is live action. In the same vein, would you consider the blue people in Avatar animated or the Incredible Hulk in the MCU? Owen from Minnesota.
It's
I'm-
all complicated, man.
Yeah.
Like everything's I'm animated right now. You're not actually looking at me. You're looking at a bunch of pixels and lights shining on your screen, flickering at a certain frame rate to make it look like I'm there, right? It's all confusing.
Well, so animation, you can't use raw motion capture in order to display something on screen, especially in as something as high quality as a movie. But even in video games, you need to do in between animations in order to clean up the motion capture. So they are adding animation to whatever the motion capture already is. So yeah, it's
And maybe that's an
animated.
algorithm that does that these days sometimes, but yes.
Sure, yeah. Oh god, yeah, animators have it rough nowadays because yeah, AI is I literally just listened to on some tech podcast where because that was Nvidia had as part of their thing at GDC, I think of they are literally just gonna have AI do in between stuff nowadays. And
Ooh.
but it is adding to the raw data that is there. So I would say it's animated, yeah.
But this isn't really helping the Lion King thing because it's not like that's performance capture.
No.
I think isn't it performance capture?
I don't. I mean,
I know that they. Here's what I remember from the Lion King is that who's the director?
Jon Favreau.
John Favreau. I thought they shot that on the volume, and that's why he wanted to use it for Mandalorian. And they had like actors on the volume, like pretending to be lions. I thought.
Gosh,
Well,
I don't know that.
From like the behind the scenes stuff I've seen, I just remember seeing Donald Glover and Beyonce in a VO booth.
Okay, I could be wrong. I vaguely remember like learning that, but maybe that's not exactly how it went down.
But God, if you performance quote unquote performance capture that, you are still working from very little to turn that into a lion. Then we know. So let's say we just consider that animation then, and then now we have two animated Lion King movies. We need a way to distinguish them still.
2D and 3D.
It's going to be fine because all these live action remakes, despite making a lot of money, sometimes they have very little staying power in the public consciousness anyways. In 10 years, we don't have to think about the live action Lion King movie anymore.
Yeah. God.
I definitely forgot about Maleficent, and I was seeing like a bunch of these listed the other day. I'm like, oh yeah, they did a Cinderella. Forgot about that.
Hey, y'all remember they made a Cruella movie?
They made
Right,
Cruella.
shit.
Yeah.
I mean, there was that Alice in Wonderland remake with Johnny Depp, and it made all this big money. And I remember all the Disney podcasts like, wow, maybe they have to start using these versions of the characters going forward because this is what's popular now. And again, there's no longevity there.
That was just the
first.
That was just the first 3D movie after Avatar, basically. That's all that was.
Didn't make any money.
Yep.
Yeah,
No one saw that sequel. Yep.
Nope.
All right, folks. I'm not bagging on Cruella. I actually enjoyed it. It was funny that those Dalmatians did kill her mom.
It's so funny. It's so funny that she actually has a vendetta against the Dalmatians.
To be fair,
in Villain's Curse Cafe, a different villain said, like, oh, what are you, some kind of pet? And then the game's like, ooh, Corella's ears perked at that. Then she looked at me like she wanted to skin me and turn me into a goat. So that was good.
all right. We got a question about chairs from John from Greece. My dearest, sweetest bomb crew. I used to game on my PS5 sitting on the couch. I just built myself a new PC, and I'm planning to do most of my gaming on my new 32-inch curved OLED. I thought I was about to say oiled PC screen.
2 syllables.
I have never looked into gaming chairs. Please help. Any help is appreciated. Keep in mind, I'm 40 years old. Thanks, John from Greece.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go on to social media and find a man named Chris Person. And he will tell you about all the ways to find what are those very popular office chairs. Herman Miller Aeron chairs. And the offices are always throwing these out. Offices are not being populated these days. So a lot of these are just kind of being given away. And they're $1,500 otherwise, if you go to buy it new. So scour Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, all these other things, and try to get a used Aeron chair. That's probably a good move for you. Also, there's a lot of knockoffs now that are pretty good. These gamers chairs, tell you what, my butt hurts right now. Right this second, my butt hurts.
Don't buy a gaming chair unless you're getting them as part of being a media person. Don't worry.
I didn't pay for that.
Yeah. Don't worry about gaming chairs. They're not built for sitting there long term. They're built for looks. like Jeff said, you can find offices getting rid of those. You can find refurbished ones a lot cheaper than you would new, because you would ideally you would get like $1,000 chair, but find a place where you can get it for like 200 because they're liquidating it or something like that.
Yeah, the Secret Lab one I have, like the armrests are cracking on the sides and it's kind of sharp and it hurts. Yeah, it's kind of a weird problem. But yeah.
If Facebook Marketplace is an option, I wouldn't specifically look for and type Herman Miller Aeron chair, just something generic like office chair, desk chair, because sometimes people are getting rid of treasures and they don't know.
Yeah, it's like with CRTs. You don't search for CRT TV. You search for old TV on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah,
absolutely.
I learned that from y'all, and I've almost pulled the trigger too many times on a CRT that was gorgeous. All right, last email of the show. Sorry, folks, for a shorter pod today. We got some business to take care of.
Yep. Sudden work travel.
I got to travel to the office. And it's raining.
What?
What am I gonna do? Anyway, Brad from Arizona writes in, Happy Tuesday. Mitch joked on the dump truck that he has probably eaten more tree bark in his life than tree fruit. And I don't think his joke was properly understood and appreciated. Somebody asked Dan where cinnamon comes from. Parentheses, if Dan isn't available, please ask one of the Jeffs to impersonate him.
What am I reading? Do I got to read something?
No. You
okay? You're doing a great job so far. Perfect.
Yeah. Hold on. Wait. Yeah. Oh, I can't remember anything. I'm Dan Reichert and also Jeff Grubb. That's the
Dan Reichert. Where do you think cinnamon comes from?
I've never thought about that.
Why do you sound like Daffy Duck?
I've never thought about that. I'm Dan Reichert.
Yeah, but cinnamon comes from the tree bark, with the wood shape.
It's tree fruit season.
Okay, where do
tree fruit?
Dan, where do corks come from?
What? Ireland.
Oh my God!
Jesus use a cork. Did Jesus use a cork?
Jesus use a cork. Okay. I mean, is that why there's so many Catholics in Ireland? Okay. Okay, Dan.
Wait. No, real quick. Was it a joke, Mike? That you ate more tree bark than tree fruit?
I think Brad might be a little confused here.
Yeah, no, I don't mean it's a joke in the sense I do think it's funny, but
I think that's a mix-up here. No, Mike meant that.
The fight joke, right? Like it's funny, but
am I a joke to you?
I'm not kidding.
Okay, Jeff, Dan, where does rubber come from?
They grow it in a lab.
Okay.
Very good.
Brad continues on. What's something that you were surprised to learn is actually natural, or something you were surprised to learn isn't natural? Brad in Arizona.
This has been a while ago now, but like when I did learn that gelatin is just from bones, from like animal bones and things like that. Because it comes in like that powder. It's like, well, this is the most obvious artificial made in a lab stuff possible. It's like, no, you get that from bones. That's why stocks are good. If you have a lot of bones in there, you get that body in there.
The body audio.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. Okay.
Loofahs being like plants.
I didn't know that.
Is there a specific plant? Like,
there's a specific plant.
The
let me look this up.
Did they just grow on the trees like that? That'd be great. With the string and everything.
That old BBC April Fool's joke where they showed people harvesting spaghetti noodles and it's like all like growing individually on a tree, and they just show people pulling spaghetti off a tree. It's like that, yeah.
That of loofahs.
Yeah.
I swear I'm not making this up.
Right.
I don't have them.
It seems fibrous, some kind of weird fibrous plant or something.
Loofah. Anyway, I'm not wrong.
Of the vine-growing loofah plants.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't got anything else that I'm surprised is natural versus nat. Oh, hold on. We have a hot email coming in from someone.
Is it from Nikki?
Who can say?
Perhaps. Who can say?
Just a guess.
This is too much flattery. I don't like this.
Read it, Jan. Read it. You're gonna like it.
Dear Bombcast, did you know Jan Ochoa is incredible? He whips. Incredible guy, keeps the wheels on this bus rolling. He's great. Everyone say that I like Jan from Giant Bomb staff. It's too nice.
I like Jan.
I don't know how to
Giant
deal with
Bomb staff.
compliments.
Yeah, you guys. I definitely like in our Slack yesterday. I think Sean, you're like, we have to like have a Jan appreciation day. I'm like, he's not gonna like that. He won't like that.
An hour sitting there understanding how our new streaming setup works. Jan deserves more than we give him.
Yep.
Tenfold. Jesus Christ.
I think we just like he always does not like compliments. I'm always just like, thank you, Jan. That's all I do now. Thank you, Jan.
We should all Venmo him money.
No,
that's a good idea.
No,
it's $5 each.
Let's not do that.
It's like a couple people.
Spend your money somewhere else, please. I appreciate all of you. Anyway, that does it for emails. Once again, bombcast@giantbomb.com is the email address. What I would like actually is like, let's get people healthcare on this website,
Yeah.
But
no,
it's different money.
I just want to say it one more time as sincerely as possible. Jan, I appreciate you. April Fool!
Wow.
That's a good. We haven't done any of those.
Got me.
Man, the random actually came through that time.
Yeah. I will say, Grub, once I installed the Gogsler stuff, it has been very stable. So
yeah, I mean, I won't say that I've been a little shoot hot at you for like a year, telling you to install that and you haven't been, but I have been a little shoot hot at you.
Well, there you go.
It's okay, Jan. Jeff got a little shoot hot at me yesterday too.
Yeah, he was too nice and too helpful.
I was being a little shit.
Folks, that does it for today's podcast. That is it for today's power block. We got some stuff to work on. Grub, I guess we're gonna wake up super early and talk over this direct.
I'll be up already because I got to take my kids to school. I did invite Nikki, and I think they said they'd be there. And I'm just like, Nikki, you don't got to do that because we are going to start streaming at like 5:45 Pacific time.
Yeah.
So here we go. It's going to be Switch 2 talk over. There will be a lot of other stuff happening on the site, Switch 2 related. GameSpot's got some stuff happening. We'll there's a chance for Grub's gimmicks. I might do some cleanup at that point, especially if like something like really interesting pops off, or maybe I'll just play a game inspired by something. It's like, oh, this game is coming to Switch 2 now. We'll just play the original.
We don't have to, but we did talk about maybe doing Delight Club with Katamari reroll, and it was on sale, and I did buy that.
I think that because this is the way the scheduling worked out, something else got put in that place. I'll let you know. I'll double check.
I will play
that.
Katamari Damacy reroll some other time.
Yes, we'll find a time to make that happen though. But yeah, lots of Switch 2 stuff tomorrow, everybody. So keep an eye on the power block.
Yes. Also, voicemail dump truck, Unprofessional Fridays, BCR later this week. The GameSpot show as well. Game breaking news Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Correct, Grub?
That's right. Yep. And it was Inzoi. That's why we couldn't do it. Lucy's going to play Inzoi tomorrow in the Light Club Splot.
There we go. Splot.
Splot
tune. Hey, I heard you can unalive children in Inzoi.
Not anymore. They did update it, so you no longer can kill children.
Oh.
Okay. Yep. Sorry, Mikey.
All right. I know that there are gonna be the Treehouse streams that may be too long to watch along, but I'm sure Grub and
I think they should be on like when we're doing other stuff, so we'll check in on them, especially if they have anything happening.
We'll keep tabs on it.
Enzoy, Lucy's gonna try and check that out tomorrow, folks. If you missed it last week, Turbo Sean McDowell here put together the Tam and Lucy Japan vlog, where they interviewed Shuhei Yoshida as well as a team between 33 Immortals. It's a big boy.
Nope, wrong 33.
No. Ah, dang it, wrong 33. Claire
33.
Obscure Expedition 33.
That demo for that just got removed from my Steam account.
Oh, nuts.
Weird.
Walking around Japan, talking about all the stuff that inspired them with Claire Obscure. Very, very good Tam.
That was cool. They got some good footage for that. It was a good idea for an interview to just be in Tower Records or Super Potato and just be like, hey, we like this, and this is how it influenced our game. That was pretty cool. So yeah, it's a big one. It's almost 2 hours long, put together in 4K. It's a big long watch. It's got timestamps that you want to skip around. Definitely check it out if you haven't already.
It's a big boy. And speaking about big boys, the GameSpot team put together the Stalker 2 doc. I suggest y'all check that out as well. Folks, gentlemen. Oh, God, I keep getting hurt. We will see you next week for another episode of the Giant Bombcast. And you know what's fucking crazy? The Switch 2 will be like real by the next time we're podcasting together on Tuesday.
Yep.
We'll see you next week for another episode of the podcast. He has been Sean. He has been Mike. He has been Grub. I've been Jan. And I'm getting shoot hot now.
Mike, tell them that Nintendo is a different day.
It's going to be tomorrow night. The music stopped. That threw me off. The Ted Dogs is tomorrow night. Listen tomorrow night to Sarah talk about the Switch 2.
I don't mean that that way. It's random, I swear. All right. We'll see you, folks. Bye.
Bye.